My name is Gina, and my husband's name is Robert. Rob and I met 2 years ago and fell in love. Robert has a son from his first marriage, who lived with his mother. I have a daughter named Polly. Polly's father died 5 years ago. Robert has stable contact with his son, visits his ex-wife, and helps them regularly. I wouldn't say I like that very much. Recently, Robert suggested I sell our apartment and buy a house within the city limits. I like the idea. I decided that nature and fresh air will favorably affect the atmosphere in our family, which has been tense lately. Robert's ex-wife name is Sarah. She's a very bright and opinionated woman. As far as I know, the discord in their relationship started on her initiative. She was on maternity leave for a long time, and her career took off when she got a job. And Rob needed help to keep up with her success. He's just a factory worker. After their divorce, Sarah regularly calls and writes to Rob, demanding help with everything. She does not have time to buy groceries in the supermarket, so she must sit with the boy and help with homework. Then Sarah goes with friends to party all night, and the baby is alone. On all those occasions, Rob has to be torn between two families. After moving into the new house, I put a condition on him. Rob, honey, this can go on. If your wife can handle the baby, take him to us. If she won't give us the boy, let her care for him properly. You can see him once or twice weekly, but more often than now, I said. In response, Rob got angry. Gina, what's your beef? What's wrong with you? He said he knew I had a son and will never neglect him, he said. Look, Rob, I don't mind you spending time with your son, but you haven't divorced your ex-wife. I feel neglected because Sarah is always standing between us. I tried to explain my feelings to him, but Rob still didn't understand me. Gina, I'm not here to help Sarah, but to care for my son. Try to understand me, he said. And then I had to tell the truth. Rob, I'm sorry I never told you this before, but I'm jealous of your ex-wife. I've been trying to suppress those feelings for a long time, but I can do it. You must understand me, otherwise I can cope with my emotions. I can do something stupid, I said. Oh no, Gina. That's some stupid girl stuff you've got in your head. Throw out the idea that I might have something with my ex-wife, and let's live in peace. You have to trust me, my husband said. I once again accepted his rules and promised not to have such scandals from now on. But not 2 days after we moved into our new home, Sarah called again and asked Rob to babysit the boy while she was at the business dinner. Rob left to join her, and my daughter and I were alone in a big house. The time passed midnight, and still no Rob. So I decided to busy myself with putting our big house in order. I had 2 floors. Our bedrooms were on the second floor. I went down to the first floor. A spacious living room with a large mirror and an all-wooden frame was in a corner. I just remember that I had to ask the previous owners why they have taken the mirror off the wall and put it on the floor. The man-sized mirror was facing the back of the couch. I decided to hang it up while my husband was away. I carefully wiped the mirror surface and went to the kitchen to get a stool. It took a few seconds before I returned with a stool in hand. To my surprise, the mirror faced the wall and the back of the couch again. I might have left it like that, although I remember it was on a sofa. I had no trouble hanging the mirror on a figurative nails that had already been nailed. After that, the interior of the living room should be in full glory. But when I stepped back, I noticed the mirror darkened, and nothing was reflected. If you get close to it, you can see your silhouette, but 2 steps away from it, that was no longer possible. Strange mirror, I thought. Robert was still gone, so I decided to go to bed. I thought Rob come back when I felt someone's cold hand on my shoulder, but when I opened my eyes, I saw something else. There was a dark silhouette sitting on the edge of the bed. Judging by the long loose hair, it was a woman. The silhouette sat silently, I could barely keep from screaming and waking Polly, asleep in the next room. I tried to get up to reach my daughter, but my legs felt as if they were numb with fear. The next moment, as I reached for the lamp with my hand, the silhouette disappeared as if vaporizing into thin air. I went to Polly's room and made sure she was sound asleep. I took my daughter into my bed so that she will not be frightened by the strange visitor. Rob came in late after we were sleeping. "Darling, why are you in the mood?" he asked the following day. "Because there was a nightmare here last night. I saw a ghost. I think there is a woman ghost living in the house," I said. My husband laughed back. "Gina, stop it, honey. You shouldn't believe in nonsenses. Ghosts, even if they exist, are not visible to human eyes, and they can hardly do any harm," he said. My husband's mockery irritated me. "Since it's funny to you, I would like to see you when a ghost sits in the bed next to you. And yes, stop staying up late at Sarah's. Polly and I are scared," I said, at which my husband laughed even more. "Oh, now it makes sense. You're making it all about your jealousy. Then I will tell you again that you're worrying for nothing. Nothing can happen between me and Sarah. I'm spending time with my son. And please stop making up ghost stories," Robert said and left for work. But I couldn't calm down. After finishing all my chores, I decided to go to the neighbors to meet them and learn the story of the house. It's a shame we didn't ask about it before we bought the house. A knock on the gate in front of our house. A sweet old lady with snow-white hair opened the gate. "Hello, my name is Gina. We are your new neighbors. We recently moved to the house across the street from you. Here, I decided to meet you," I said, holding out a cake that I had baked especially for the occasion. The old lady looked at me and at my pie on the plate and then asked, "Why did you buy the house?" "Well, we like it. The house and the garden are spacious. My husband and I have always dreamed of having a garden. Here's just enough land for the flight of fancy," I said. "Have you dug the soil there?" the old lady asked in a whisper. "No, we just moved in. Why do you ask that?" I wondered. "How long you're going to live here?" the old woman asked, lowering her voice even more and looking around. It seemed to me as if she knew something. "We are here for a long time, if not forever," I replied. "Thanks for the pie. If anything, I haven't seen you," said the old woman and hurried away behind her wicket. But I wanted more from this arrangement. "Wait, what's your name? Why do you avoid communicating with me?" I asked. "Berta. My name is Berta." "Shh. Could you not say my name out loud?" said the old lady. "I heard there is an evil spirit in this house," she added. "I've been meaning to talk to you about that. What do you know about the previous tenants?" I asked. "I don't know anything. Nobody knows that. That's it. Don't ask me anything else," she said and hurriedly slammed her door in my face. So much for talking. I thought not understanding anything. At this point, my attempts to learn the house history were put off for a while. In those days, I had many tasks for my work and had to leave home for a few days. Polly stayed at my friend's house during those days, who also has a daughter of the same age. While away, I read something about strange houses with dark stories. Those stories were terrifying. I was scared to go home, knowing the subsequent encounter was inevitable. After arriving home, my husband and I decided to have a romantic dinner. Polly came home from daycare tired, hence I fell asleep early. Rob and I drank wine and decided to dance. And when we went to bed, I checked the whole house to ensure everything was in the place. The surprise came the following day. I went into the kitchen to make a coffee for myself and husband. I found an unprecedented mess. Jars of loose food were lying on the floor, all the cupboard doors were open, and the contents were pale on the floor. The kitchen looked as if a hurricane had blown through it. With horror, I stood frozen in a place. After a while, I found the strength to go to the bathroom and wake my husband. Rob saw the mess and again didn't take it seriously. Our cat probably got bored at night, so he decided to play with himself. I don't find anything supernatural about it, he said. I wanted to believe what he said. I even thought about it that day, but my faith didn't last long. 3 days later, Rob stayed at Sarah's again. He explained that Sarah had ordered a furniture delivery and had yet to arrive home in the time for a craftsman to arrive. And now he had to accept her purchase. I was mad as hell at my husband. Rob, your ex-wife is out of line. And it's primarily your fault because you should have let her know that she has to rely on herself more now. Now, put you out of the family. Rob, you will have to choose between two families. I don't want to do this anymore. I said it all over the phone. Gina, you're jealous of me like a silly girl. There's nothing between me and my ex-wife. I'm doing this for my son. And if you don't trust me, then you should make a choice, he said. I took offense to my husband and hanging up the phone. That night, I decided not to wait up late for him. When Polly and I had just fallen asleep, he came over. I pretended to be sleeping so I wouldn't talk to him. My husband silently changed his clothes and went to bed with his arms around my back. For past midnight, I woke up to noise from the kitchen. I listened and realized that someone was talking to someone. When I lifted my head from the pillow, I noticed that Rob wasn't in bed. Who could be talking to this late hour? It was a mystery to me. I got up and went into the kitchen. To my surprise, the kitchen light was not on. I saw Rob's face at the kitchen table by the street lamp's light. Across from him, with her back to me, sat a woman with long, loose hair. They were having a pleasant conversation. Rob? What are you doing here? Who's this woman? I asked. Oh, my Gina is awake. Honey, sit with us. Rose is telling me such a fascinating story that I'm listening. Rob sat and gestured to a stool beside me. I couldn't move from my seat out of fear. Rob, get away from her. It's a ghost. It's not human. Maybe she's hypnotizing you. Rob, I screamed. Robert heard me. It's a pity, Rose, that our lovely conversation must be interrupted. As you can see, Gina is very jealous. She doesn't trust me. But it was nice talking to you. You should come and see us more often, he said, getting up from the table. Rob, are you crazy? Why are you calling her to us? We need to send her away so she doesn't create a chaos here. I was outraged. But my husband's face looked blissful. It was as if he was not present in here, and now he was all caught up in the experience of being with this woman. Honey, let's go to bed. I don't want any more jealous scenes from you, he said and followed me. Then Rob went to bed and quickly fell into a deep sleep. I only slept a wink in the morning, and in the morning I was awake. My husband woke up first and brought me coffee in bed. What were you talking to the ghost about? I asked him. Gina, what are you talking about? What a ghost? Robert made a surprised face. You sat at the same table with her at night and chatted for who knows how long until I dragged you back to bed, I said with irritation in my voice. Gina, honey, are you overworked? It may be time for you to take a vacation. Why don't we go to somewhere and get away from it all? It was nothing like that. I slept like a baby all night, Rob kept saying. No, Rob, I can't go on like this. I can't live like this. You're either faking it on purpose, or I'm crazy. Let's leave apart for a while. That way, you can figure out whatever there is a ghost. At the same time, think about your relationship with Sarah. Maybe it's time to end it and leave your own wife. I said, packed my suitcase, took Polly, and said I will go to my mother's for a week or more. But Rob surprised me. Wait, I will come with you. What I'm going to do here alone, he said and started to pack his things. What? Sarah will call you and ask to go to her. No, honey, I heard you. Sarah's got her own life to live now. I will visit my son this weekend. In the meantime, I will come with you, he said, surprising me. We drove to my mother's house in a neighboring town. The trip had been good for me. Rob and I talked about many things away from our familiar surroundings. After staying with my mother for a few days, we drove back. We were surprised to see a load of rescue equipment at the entrance to our town. It turned out that on the day we left, a dam near our house had broken. Several dozen houses were underwater, and many people and animals were killed. I was sure I would find our house destroyed or overflowing with muddy streams of water, but in my surprise was unparalleled with what I saw. The house was intact, with some water but no significant damage. Our life quickly fell into a familiar rut. One afternoon, I was home alone. After finishing all the housework, I decided to go to the attic to lie in the sun and read a book. But I met the same woman from my nightmare nights in the attic. Her loose hair was a metallic color. Her face was pale, her large eyes brimming with sadness and terror. There was distinct dark circles around her eyes. She was somehow translucent. Looking into her eyes, I felt sorry for her for some reason. Who are you? Why are you here? Why are you chasing us out of the house? Asked her bluntly. My vis-a-vis seemed to say something, her lips moving, but I couldn't hear anything. It was like she was talking through a thick glass wall. When she realized we couldn't understand, she gestured to an old wooden nightstand I will soon throw away. I went to the nightstand, opened the door, and found a beautiful wooden box. Inside the box was a diary with a pink, shiny cover. I read it from cover to cover. The last entry was as follows. I, Tyler Rose, am voluntarily withdrawing from life because my grief is unbearable. Michael was the meaning of my life. I was very jealous of her. My friend Lucy agreed to help me test his loyalty. She started flirting with him, and after a while, I got wedding invitations from both of them. They fell in love and decided to get married. Right now, I ran away from their wedding and realized that I couldn't live with that kind of pain in my heart. Forgive me, my loved ones, wrote a girl 12 years ago. I sat with that journal all day. By evening, I realized Rose didn't wish us harm, but herself could not find peace. I decided to help her find peace. I began to pray for her soul every day. She appeared periodically, but her sad eyes grew brighter each time. The last time we ran into her, she clarified that she was flying to heaven and wouldn't bother us. And I concluded that it was essential to trust the loved one and not to torment him with jealousy.